Hey geeks, Barry here with Geek Out Studio, and today I'm going to show you how I painted the AvP Hunt Begins Predators. Here's a list of all the paints you'll need. So I started by priming them with Lejos Surface Primer Black, before I then did a zenithal highlight with Vallejo Surface Primer Gray. This is just to kind of accentuate some of the highlights and help me see what's going on these really detailed minis. So you can see here I'm just spraying Vallejo Surface Primer kind of directly down from the top of the miniature. From there, I start with a base coat of very thin Vallejo Game Air Dead Flesh. And after that, I'll add a little bit of elf skin tone to it. Before then, I just do a straight zenithal highlight using Vallejo Game Air Pale Flesh. And this will just be to kind of help highlight some interesting areas. Once that's done, I go to begin the brushwork. Here I'm applying a mix of Citadel Reikland's Flesh Shade and some Secret Weapon Baby Poop. I thinned down this wash, so if I feel like I put it on too heavy, I can then wipe it off with a damp brush. And this is just to help add some color variation and interest to the skin. From there, I then start painting the dreadlocks and the nails and claws using Model Master's Gunship Gray. This is a pretty dark gray. It doesn't look like it's very dark right now, but as it dries, it goes very dark. So I just find it a really great color for what should be black pieces. So, and they'll all get shaded here in a moment with black wash. So to help highlight it and keep that highlight, I then hit it with Vallejo Model Color Neutral Gray. And as you can just see, I'm just doing a dry brush. So again, once this gets shaded, it'll all go nearly black, but it'll stay highlighted. As you can see, here's with applying the black wash and just how dark it can go. And of course, before that, kind of back up and go out of order. Here I'm just showing you the detailing of the claws with the Model Master Gunship Gray. for all the metal and armor bits, I use Vallejo Game Color Gunmetal. Now to help shade the metal and give it kind of really interesting look, I mixed a little bit of black ink with some gloss medium, and what this does is it'll actually reduce the surface tension, so you won't have any like pooling or tidal streaks on the mini. But with the gloss and the black, it really just kind of gives it a very kind of, I don't know, like a dark metal, black metal, carbon look to it. It's a really cool effect, and I felt it really worked on these Predators. Now I do go and dry brush a little bit of the Vallejo Game Color Gunmetal. This is just to kind of add some highlights to the edges and help with a bit of a polished look to it. Now to pick out some of the detail, like the little beads in the dreadlock, and just to add a bit of interest to some of the weapons and armor, I go over with Vallejo Game Color Tinny Tin, and then give it a slight highlight with Citadel's Brass Scorpion. And of course I don't know why it just went completely like really dark here. So for the loincloths, I do this on all three of them. I start with Vallejo Model Color Red Leather, and then I'll apply like three layers of Vallejo Wash Brown. This just kind of gives it a very kind of colored, treated leather. So again, a really interesting effect and just something different from the other leather parts that I'll be doing here in a moment. Now for the actual leather straps and pouches and everything on these miniatures, I start with Vallejo Game Color Beastie Brown, and then I shade it a couple of times with, again, just Vallejo Wash Brown or Sepia tone, before I then stipple on and kind of highlight it back up with Leather Brown. So here I am, I'm just shading it with the brown shade. Again, this effect, once it's done, gives a very kind of natural, worn but not like old leather look. So again, I think it's something very fitting for the Predators. And one of the last details on these figures are naturally the skulls. So I started with Vallejo Monocolor Buff. I then gave it a very light wash of Citadel Seraphim Sepia before highlighting it back up with Vallejo Monocolor Ivory. And here I'm just doing it in real time because one, it's not a big area to cover, but two, also to kind of give you an idea of just how kind of tedious and slow doing these miniatures can be. So you've been watching the tutorial at, you know, kind of double speed, so, you know, just kind of give you an idea that no, I don't actually paint that fast. and here's the finished result. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and be sure to hit like and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them down in the comment section below, and I'll see you next time.